Hello and welcome back to the BIM Coordinator Summit here on stage 10, and we are doing our final piece. We are doing a panel discussion with all of our excellent guests from this afternoon session. So I guess I'm going to start it off by asking a question of our panelists. And what I saw through all of the sessions that we had this afternoon, there was a lot of talk about community and sharing and standard language. What I think that means to me is that there has to be a lot of interoperability. But my question is, are we as an industry at a stage where we have enough interoperability between our softwares and our processes to get to what we've been talking about here today? Don't be shy. Anyone jump in.
Well, I think that there's some path that we need to walk. Interoperability, it's something that will allow us to work in the BIM software that we all want to work and we need, because that depends on what you're doing, the BIM software that is most suitable for you. This interoperability, and it was part of my speech, it's really difficult to get if we don't understand that we need to share the data accurate. So in order to make that, all what we were talking about, it's about that awareness of managing data to be available to make the interoperability successful in order to get there and all speak same language, as she was saying in her speech also. And I think that is interoperability, and that's the way. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. Yes, I think there is still a lot to do, but what is important to know that is possible. So interoperability is absolutely possible. What is missing now is the wish of some categories of people to share their knowledge so that the standardization bodies can build standards for interoperability. So it's not a matter of the tool that it can work, but it's a matter of people that is not ready to share.
I think that's a good point about the people, similar to your frog cartoon at the end, is that a lot of people will say, yes, I want interoperability, as long as the interoperability means you're using my tool. You all changed to me, and I think that's part of the problem. You're right. It's not the process, it's the people understanding that we need to share that responsibility, that change. So do you have something to say?
I was just going to say it is still, a continuous improvement phase, because earlier we have seen the software, BIM software, they were not communicating with each other. Now there's already a standard IFC format, for example. The next thing is integration of BIM along with, as I said, facility management tools, or it could be for the BIM platforms or project management tools or even ERP software and all. So everything is day by day, the utility of the BIM model is increasing, and so is the requirement of integration between different softwares and platforms. And that is what I think it is going to be a continuous improvement process.
Yeah, I agree that interoperability it's like a battle between the competition. As you say, you use my software with interoperability. It's to kind of have that happy medium that everything works and there's a line set and a whole process implemented.
Okay, I think that makes sense. I think we're all in the same boat here. That interoperability is good. We just need to change some minds, and that interoperability means for everything, and we all need to change, and that we're moving in the right direction, but maybe we're not there yet. Which leads me to my next question. So I'm from Canada, and there's a lot of talks today on this stage about the golden thread, about ISO 19650, about open BIM and standards. We in North America haven't gone down the mandate route. We understand the power behind having standards and having BIM execution plans, but we also have vast amounts of space. So how you would implement and build a building in Newfoundland versus Vancouver versus in Florida is all very different. So that's one of the reasons people cling to saying, well, we don't need a mandate here, or we don't need those type of standards. Obviously, it's very important here, and it does a lot of good work. I guess my question is, if you had a chance to say to us over in North America, this is why you should standardize, what would you tell us?
Actually, I have plenty of clients in United States and Canada. We work 90% of our clients are located there. So I think that the way the standardization works is like you need to costume that to what you're doing. The standardization is just a path. You need to, those are requirements that are, you need to have the minimum requirements. But then it's not like you need to be so strict. You can take them as a guide, because if not, we are not going to be able to make something like it's going to be working into each region, each country. It's going to be really difficult. So follow the standards as a guidelines, and then manage to adjust them to your needs. So that's what we do, because we follow the coding of Canada and the coding of United States. They're quite similar, but no. And also, I mean, there's some things that you really need to have. A building execution plan, a BIM execution plan, I mean, that should be like 101 basis for everybody. Then the information that you're going to be putting inside, then you can, okay, I don't need exactly this that is in the standards. I can just put this other information that is more accurate for my business or for what I'm looking for. That's from my perspective. I don't know if anyone.
What I can add is that if someone is used to a particular software and he feel that is comfortable with that software, what happens if that software does not continue selling and they just disappear, or they are bought by somebody else? They are not anymore proprietary of their own data. And this happens especially with the public administration, because they trust the BIM model that they received, and after a few years, they don't know how to read it because they do not have that software. So that's why the standards are important, because you can still read any design, any model, even after 20 or 30 years. Because the standards keep upgrading, but you can still read the previous version, and this is not true for the software. And as I come from the community that developed the language for IFC and was the Navy and airspace, and they need those data 30 years after, and they can still read those files. I don't think that any designer, any architect can still read what they have done 30 years ago.
I would say standardization is required. We work for clients in North America, US and Canada and all. And as you know, AIA as well as CanBIM, formerly known as CanBIM, they have come up with the standards and implementation. So there could be different regulatory requirements, government requirements across different states of US, for example, or the construction technology method. But the way the processes are being done, whether it's a design phase or construction, it's more or less similar. So a standardization will help them, at an international level. If we see nowadays ISO 19650, that's coming up at an international level, then that would be a common language which each and every professional, they will be speaking. So I think it's required. I mean, there are already in places region-wise, state-wise, country or continent-wise, but then a standard across the globe is something that would be helpful to everyone.
Yeah, I think standardization is key, and you wouldn't build a project or a building without a set of plans. So you need to have some goal set in place. Whether it's a small step or a large step, at least you need to set something to give guidance to the whole team, and even for the whole country of the whole of Canada. Yeah. Just have something to have an end in sight, so at least you have something to aim for.
I think that's great insight. I love the point about you wouldn't build something without a plan. That's all of our jobs. That's what we do. So we sort of understand that. The other takeaway that I take from that is that all of you that work where there's some sort of mandate for these standards, the word mandate and the idea of mandate was never brought up. It was the idea that you could use them as the guide, that you use them to help improve everyone, that if you're all building from the same plan, if something's no longer available, you have a backup. So I think that speaks a lot to the power of having these standards in place and having used them, that we now have your knowledge as a way to move forward and to do that. And so now to completely change things around, the next question I want to talk about was something about sustainability. Another thing that came very popular, we're talking a lot about that, the idea that we need to bring that. I guess my question is, we've seen a lot of softwares that come in that, embodied carbons, do these things that we put in that, again, are mandated that we have to do, but what other role can sustainability play in our industry to improve it going down?
It's showing our care for the environment is where, because we have future generations that will follow us. And you can see it even today, the heat that is in the room, which is not normal for this time of year. It's something that we need to attack fast because it is coming at a very serious rate. And it's to try and have whatever solution is in place that the buildings or the infrastructure we have in place is safe and carbon neutral.
I would just say, one thing, that Earth is not something we have inherited from our ancestors. It's more about we have borrowed it from the coming generations. Definitely that has to be in mind for the future and the future generations.
I've seen everybody speaks about the sustainability, but there is a way to say, but nobody wants to reach it by foot.
Yeah.
When we speak about sustainability, we have to consider, for instance, the recycling of the materials that we have used. But if we do not have a database of what we have in the building, like through facility management or others, it's almost impossible to recycle that material. And this is one. And the other thing is that the designer is used to design with the library of the software. And that's, he cannot build something sustainable if he doesn't know what is produced locally, what insulation he can use that is not bought from the other side of the world, but locally. And so this is really a strategy. The sustainability is something that should be taught with everybody, with the workers, the designers, the architects, the constructors, the producers. Otherwise, we are just speaking about sustainability, but we are not going toward the sustainability.
Yeah. I would like to see, I have heard about talking about sustainability, as you said, like we were talking about, I don't see like executing. I need to see some success, really successful. There are several software that you can use to check the sustainability of your project. But then comes to the first steps. You need to have interoperability because those softwares always work with IFC files. So the question is, are we working with the standards? Are we working with IFC files? If we are doing that wrong, because that's the information that I have, then how can I know that the information that they are getting from the sustainability BIM softwares that are using IFC is accurate or correct? That's just a reflection.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, and it sort of shows the idea, and I think the takeaway here is that, as you said, we all want big change, but we have to have those baby steps. We all have to be part of the change, but there also has to be an option that people can take. If we present them the worst option, they're just not going to do it, and we need to make change sooner. And as we're getting near the end, I just want to shift gears just to end this off on kind of a happy note. Is if you each could just take a few seconds to say what's your biggest takeaway from this conference? As we're at the last session of the day. I think it's been a great conference. What's your biggest takeaway from the BIM Coordinator Summit this year?
First of all, like the people, all the networking, the persons that are willing to share their knowledge. That's something that is really important. Then there are some trending topics like smart cities and digital twins that we need to take. I mean, they are on our target right now. So, but as I am saying, what we need to take care first of what we were talking about in this stage to be able to accomplish those. Like I see, like they are in the future, and to make them like in our daily basis. But the best thing that I have from this event is like everybody is willing to share their knowledge, and we are all believers that by sharing and talking to each other and making awareness, we're going to go to the future together and try to work and try to speak in the same languages like we are doing right now. We are none of our native language is English, but yours I don't think. So like that's IFC, working, talking all in English.
Talking to me.
What I take with me is the heterogeneity of this environment, because there are young or old people, women, men, and there are professors, there are vendors, everything. And this is really the key point for the opening and the interoperability, because we need to link the young generation with the old generation, and we need to involve women, because there is so much need of competencies that I don't know why we should not use also the mind of the women. So I like this.
I would say, it's really good to be here, and especially attending the conference, being here, it emphasizes on the way where things are moving and we should be moving. That's one thing, and it signifies the tagline where minds meet and information matters. So it really, I think it was worth attending, and I look forward to be here or someday next year also. Thanks.
Yeah, this is our first time exhibiting here, and it was good to meet some leaders within the digital environment. And it was great to present here on what solutions we have, and it's great to see what other solutions other companies have as well. And even to see how people have evolved to meet current criteria, especially after the pandemic. And it was very interesting, the talks that occurred today.
All right. Well, we've come to an end. Thank you all very much. And I think to wrap it up, I think we all agree that it's the community, the people, the sharing of the knowledge and the technology that brings us all together. And with that, I say thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been great. And have a good rest of the day.